fields. From the ice to the turf, we'll break it down. Discussing every win and every loss in town. We'll talk about the Canucks and the Lions. We are your irrational fans. We are your irrational fans.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 95 of the Hughes Sports Podcast. I am your host, Jake Hughes, alongside the old man, or is it Kevin the Medium? Actually, I think I've got it.
You got it?
It's taken me almost a week to come up with it, but I think it's Kevin the Old Man Medium.
Oh, Kevin the
then
old man medium.
Well, because then it's Kevin the
I love it.
I told you I had something cooking up.
You did. You didn't quite tell me what, and I wish you would have, because I would have changed it, but that worked. How the hell are you?
Well, it's been a crazy week in Vancouver and the sports that we cover, both the CFL, the NHL, the Canucks.
Oh,
You
had a crazy week.
No, it's been a crazy news week.
Oh,
And then add on the fact that you've had the week of a lifetime.
oh. Dude, see, you get it. When I was posting how everything was happening and all the fun stuff that I got to do,
Yes.
you understood it. Like, you felt my emotion.
Yes.
I mean, it started Wednesday, right? We get there and we go down and soon as we walked in, Rod, who I was with, Rod Peterson, obviously. And soon as we walk in, Rod says, somebody from the Grey Cup Festival here in Vancouver went to Super Bowl last year, because they have set this up almost identical to Super Bowl on a smaller version.
Which is exactly what you need to do.
Yes. And so we walked through and down to Radio Row. And it was quite hilarious because there's 8 tables, maybe 10. And every table has a sign in front of it except one. It doesn't have a sign. And you could see Rod was kind of getting a little miffed that it was his table that didn't have the sign. He was not impressed in the least. So I look over and I notice Sakaris and Price have like 4 signs in front of their table. They have 2 signs. Everybody has 2 signs, but
Okay.
Sakaris and Price have 4, like 2 deep on each sign. And I kind of giggle to myself and I'm like, oh, Matt. And I walk over and sure enough, they had moved the S&P signs over to cover the Rod Peterson signs. I laughed so hard. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. Welcome to Vancouver. That was my welcome. So that was cool. We kind of half set up. Actually, we got all set up because we wanted to make sure we had to broadcast at 9:00 the next morning. So we wanted to make sure everything was working. Everything worked really well. They were so helpful. It was amazing. I can't say enough. As I said on the air with Rod, Calgary started the Grey Cup Festival itself 100 million years ago. Vancouver perfected it this week. Man, it was good. Anyways, go ahead.
Sorry, just to build off that. Like you said, everyone knew there was going to be a Grey Cup Festival. Like you said, Calgary was the first one to do it. But they took the elements that worked really well from the Super Bowl and said, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this.
So we're right down at the Vancouver Convention Center, which is also the Vancouver cruise port. So you're right on the water. It's, if you're looking at it, there's 2 buildings. There's the west and then the east. And they took over both. On the east side is where the Radio Row was. And it was also the family zone. It was free. Anybody could come in and it was packed. They did it right. Thursday and Friday, they brought in 150,000 kids. I'm guessing at that number from different schools. Gave them all orange Grey Cup jerseys. Place was buzzing. So anyways, back to it. Wednesday, I'm told we're invited to a press gathering at Mahoney's Pub, which is just on the water. And I'm like, oh, cool. So we get kind of half dressed up and we go there. First person I see is Farhan Lalji. Jake, he comes up, he shakes my hand. He looks behind me and goes, "Where's Jake?" And I didn't make it. Rod looks at me and goes, "Oh, Farhan was on our show." And he goes, "Oh, very cool." So of course, now Farhan says hi to Rod because they have known each other for years and years.
Of course.
Then another 5 or 10 steps, and I hear, "Kevin!" I look over and it's Matt Sakaris. So I go over and shake his hand. "Where's Jake?" And I'm like, "It's just the old man."
It's just the old guy.
Short story long, 4 times in a matter of a half hour. I met people who had been on our show. "Where's Jake?"
That's awesome.
So you were missed. Know that you were missed. I kept saying all the way through in my head more so was, man, this is fun, but this would be so much better if we were doing it.
Yeah.
That's when I got into my head, we're doing this next year. And we'll go into that more as we go through. But probably the highlight of the whole week wasn't the football game. Never is. The football game's almost a secondary thing to the show.
Yeah. Which is the way it's supposed to be. I mean, like...
Super Bowl's the same.
Well, and the way the CFL is doing it now, organizations are bidding on this.
Yes.
Right? So it's to build a big event.
Yes. Obviously, the highlight was...
Finally, after... How many years have you had that jersey?
I'm going to say at least 30 plus years.
I would argue that. Because I think you got it after I was born.
No. This is a medium. And I would have got this in probably early 90s. So maybe after you were born.
Yeah.
So 30 plus years. Around 30 years. A long freaking time.
Fair.
And I have tried to meet this guy for so many years.
Well, but that's not the full truth. You've ran into him multiple times.
And never
where
had the jersey.
Where you had Paul McCallum's jersey, you didn't have any jersey.
Yes. And he heard all those stories when it was so cool because I met him at the...
Sorry, for those who are just listening to the audio version, the old man finally got his Louis Pasaglia number 5 jersey signed by the man himself.
So I met him at the Legends Lunch. This was on the Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, this was on the Friday. Legends Lunch is put on by the Alumni Association, the CFL Alumni Association. I'm not sure what it cost. I know it wasn't cheap, but it was well over $100 for tickets. The Rod Peterson show was gracious enough to buy both of Rod and I a ticket, which was kind of cool.
That's awesome.
And I wish I had the video. I should have sent you the video of them bringing the cup in because it was so freaking cool because they had the music pumped. They had the RCMP walking in with it. Crazy Pete there banging on his drum, and then all the alumni behind. Well, we were sitting at table 3, which was right up front.
Okay.
Right, like literally the stage is right in front of me. Speakers were a little bit to my left. And as they walk by, I spot them. And Rod grabs me and goes, "Wait."
Rod knows.
So I did. They did their thing. I went up to him as he was walking away and said, "Hey, Louis, can you sign this?" And he goes, "Oh, sure." And he looked at it. He goes, "Oh, that's an old one." And I went, yeah, I've been waiting a long time for you to sign this. Last time I met you, I was wearing my Paul McCallum jersey. And he goes, oh, nice. So anyways, he signs it. He comes over to our table and signs it because we were kind of standing in the way. And then he signs 2 or 3 other jerseys for people who were at our table. And he walks away. Well, I took a picture of him signing it, just a selfie. And I was quite happy, obviously. I was I was emotional. I was sitting at the table trying not to have tears running down my cheeks because I was that excited.
Yeah.
We have a beautiful lunch, and I look at Rod and I'm like, do you think it's okay if I go over and ask Louis to take a proper picture? And Louis is sitting like 2 tables away. He's sitting at table number 1.
Yeah.
And Rod goes, yeah, he's just sitting by himself. Go ask him. So I'm like, cool. So I go up and I'm like, hey, Louis, do you mind taking signed my jersey. Do you mind we could take a proper picture? And he goes, yeah, no problem. So he stands up and I take a selfie and he looks over and he goes, are you sitting with Rod Peterson? Yes. He goes, can you bring him over? And I want to talk to him. Yes.
Of course.
So I go over to Rod and oops, I lost my camera. I hope you guys can still see me.
We can still see and hear you.
And I'm like, Rod, Louis wants to talk to you. And I say it just like that. And he goes, what? I don't know him. And I'm like, he wants to talk to you.
He knows you.
So Rod and I go back over and he wants to ask about some stuff. I won't go into it, but with Rod's old color guy, blah, blah, blah. And they talk. And then Rod goes, do you want me to take a proper picture, Kevin? I'm like, yeah. So that's the picture you saw with my arm around him. We had been chatting for about 10 minutes at that point, the 3 of us. And I put my arm around him. We're chatting. And I'm like, Lou, you have no idea how big of a fan I am. Trent, it's coming. And he goes, you know how many times I hear I'm your biggest fan? And I'm like, no, you don't understand.
I don't think you understand.
So I bring up the cardboard cutout, which I was going to bring up tonight, and I never did. I should bring it up in the future. I'm like, do you remember doing this for the insurance company or the liquor store, the liquor board of
the anti-drunk driving.
The anti-drunk driving. He goes, yeah. And I said, they had those big cardboard cutouts of you and you were basically saying, have a game plan. He goes, yeah, I remember those. And I said, so do I. I still have one. And he looks and he's like, you have a cardboard cutout of me?
Yep.
And I'm like, yeah, I have a cardboard cutout of you. And it comes up every once in a while during important games. You come up and you watch the game with me. And he just laughs. And I go, dude, I go back to watching you when you were in Notre Dame High School and Coach Blesh was your coach. And he's like, oh. I said, my brother was 2 years behind you. My sister was 2 years in front of you. And he's like, okay, you win. So that was by far my highlight. I hadn't planned to go to the game, but I ended up going to the game, and it was absolutely amazing. I had such a good time. Got to sit with Anton McKenzie and his family. Cool people. Those who don't know Anton McKenzie, 9 years in the league, I think. Won a cup in 2011 and 2013. 11, of course, with BC. 13 with the Green People. Riders. Then he went out to Ottawa for 1 year, I think. He lives down in New York, but he was up for the game and had an extra ticket. So it was amazing. Just an amazing week.
No. One of the highlights that I had was, I don't remember what day it was. I think it was Thursday or Friday. And the old man messages me out of nowhere being like, so I think I have to change the name from just Kevin the Old Man. I was like, why? He was like, I just signed my first autograph.
That would have been Saturday.
Was that Saturday?
Might have been. Yeah, that was definitely Saturday. Because Friday was the day I had people walk in and want to take pictures with me. And they're like, you're Kevin the Medium. For people who don't understand that, that's what Rod calls me on his show, is Kevin the Medium.
Yes.
So I had 2 or 3 people come in. 3 people. Sean from Vancouver, your buddy Zach.
Yep.
from here in Calgary, and this other Winnipeg. I called him the mayor of Smurf Mafia. They all wanted pictures with me, which I thought was just the funniest thing in the world because I was laughing. I was all I could do. And then when it was Saturday and the lady from Regina came in with her big ass rider flag. Yes, Trent, I signed a rider flag.
Oh, that's even worse. You didn't tell me that.
I just laughed so hard. I'm like, you don't want me to sign that? Trying to get out of it.
Of course.
And because Rod had just signed it. And she goes, oh yeah, you'll be like the one I talk about. So now I'm like, how do I sign this? Like my signature is a K and a scribble.
Hi, have you seen professional signatures? That's what they are. They're just like first initial, last initial with squiggles in the middle.
So I just put Kevin and then in quotation marks, the medium.
Yep.
And then I looked at Rod and I'm like, I'm going to have to practice my signature.
And I'm sure Rod was just getting a kick out of it too.
Oh, I think he enjoyed it almost as much as I did. And he actually told me on Saturday that he thanked me because for him, this is his 24th or 25th Grey Cup. And they're just another day for him, just more work. But I guess I injected some excitement and some energy into it for him. Because I mean, everything I did, I was excited about, of course, because we did so many cool things. So,
but to him, it was just that's a regular Grey Cup experience.
Oh, and
at this point,
I get that Rod is the most gracious person when it comes to fans wanting an autograph or a picture. But it can get tiresome when you're with Rod. And like, so at Friday, we couldn't walk. Like we were in a hurry to get from Radio Row over to the other building. We're in East. We had to go outside and go over to the other building, which was about a block away.
Okay.
Every 5 feet, he had to stop. And the way he talks to people when you walk away, you're like, who was that? Like, did you know them? No, just an irrational fan like you. But he's so gracious and he so loves his audience that I'm sure it gets to him, but he doesn't let it. Like he just, yep, okay, let's take a picture. Yep, let's take a picture.
And knowing Rod, he knows that if there is no audience, if there is nobody wanting to take pictures, he doesn't have a job.
Well, that's what I told him. I said, Rod, right? When they forget,
that's the problem.
You know who else I met and I got to have a long conversation with?
Who is that?
Jim Barker.
Man,
TSN panelist.
He's on Rod Peterson show.
Every Friday.
Weekly.
Yeah, every Friday he has his segment on the Rod Peterson show. He is an amazing man. Is the only words I've got for him. If anybody was paying attention to my Twitter, to our Twitter, mine and Jake's and the HSP, you saw some hot takes, as Jake called them, that I had.
There were some spicy takes.
A lot of them came from Mr. Barker when we were sitting talking, and I was like, "Can I tweet that out?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh,
okay,"
because I was sure he would say, "No, that's just we're just talking here, Kev."
Yeah,
right. And Arash Madani, another guy, just sitting talking. Sportsnet fame, for people who don't know who Arash is. Everybody was so when I told them what we did, you and I.
Yep.
They're like, "You guys are the future," and I'm like, "Fuck, you're half my age, dude." And some of them you're younger, but they're like, podcasts like ours is the future of radio. Yep. If you looked at Radio Row, CKNW was the only radio station there.
Yep.
All the rest was podcast.
Digital space.
Right? I mean, I didn't know when TSN folded in Vancouver. I just thought TSN picked up the broadcast. No. BC Lions had to create a BC Lions audio company, and they are buying space on NW to broadcast.
Yes.
which is very interesting.
It's a smart way to do it because you have your guys calling the games, but it's also a big investment from the BC Lions to buy that space.
Oh, huge. And don't Armar Doman, another great guy. I got to talk to him at the Legends lunch. We need more owners like that guy.
Yeah.
That was the other thing. Again, it was all happened at the Legends lunch. We're just walking in. Hey Zach, how you doing? We talked about you earlier, Zach. And I walk by into the VIP area, and I hear Kevin, and I turn around, and it's Jay McNeil, the president of the Stampeders. First off, how do you remember my name, Mr. McNeil? And holy crap, how did you get so jacked? I'm not kidding. That guy could be playing football today. He is ripped. He's going to come on our show. I've reached out to him. I'm waiting for a reply, but I'm pretty sure he'll be coming on our show sooner or later to talk 2026 Grey Cup preparations and all the offseason that the craziness is going to happen.
And what crazy? Well, I would say that's a great jumping point to the craziness that is the offseason. But we haven't even talked about the Grey Cup game. We're 20 minutes into the post Grey Cup episode, and we've been talking the periphery events. And if you're there, those are the main events to me. Those are you're meeting people, you're chatting with people. That's the fun. Don't get me wrong, the game was a lot of fun.
It was,
but there's so much excitement and energy around getting especially for us. To go meet these people and have conversations, and again, for a handful of people to be like, hey, like, how's it going? Like, great to see you. It's like, oh, cool, awesome, right? Like,
I mean, I didn't even get to all the parties. It wasn't we were on a business trip, so we were up early every morning, so we didn't even get to the parties. You could tell these reporters, the media that did get to the parties, because they're the one with the big bags under their eyes, their pupils all red.
Well, why do you think that most of them don't start their shows until noon or 1 o'clock?
Exactly. But to the game, it was funny because, like I said, I wasn't going to go to the game. I was resigned to sit at the Shark Club and watch it from there. But a friend of the show and becoming a very good friend of mine, Arlan Bruce, reached out and said that his friend had a ticket. So I called his friend, who happened to be Anton McKenzie, and that's how I ended up at the game with Anton McKenzie.
And at that game, we had the Argos become the Grey Cup champions with a 41-24 win.
Now,
I know exactly where we're going to go.
Blowout. It sounds like a complete blowout. Going into the fourth quarter, it was a 1-point game.
Yeah, tell me the fourth quarter wasn't a complete blowout.
Well, when I saw number 8, Mr. Colares, running into the dressing room with blood gushing from his finger, they were holding a Band-Aid on it, and you could see the blood running down his hand. It was he ran in right underneath us.
Well, and it was so ridiculous because, like, it happened. He got cut, and like just the way he was holding it, how much blood, it was like there's no way he can hold a ball again.
See, we didn't see it at all. Why he wasn't pulled and kept out of that game? 4 interceptions in the fourth quarter, I think, wasn't it? Or was it 3?
I think. Let me find out. I have the plays open here.
But
try to pull him from that.
Regardless of 4 in the fourth,
for 164 yards returned.
Yes. Take those away. Take away his cut finger. The Argos earned to be where they were and put themselves in a position to be where they were to win that game.
Yep.
They kicked ass. Their defense was outstanding. Their defense shut the man down again. I don't know what it is about Collaros, who can throw the ball a mile, can score touchdowns on will with the amazing receivers until he gets into the Grey Cup.
No, I know this one because the only team to stop them all year
Was Toronto.
was Toronto. And you know what Toronto does differently than a lot of other teams? And I commented on it at your house watching with Ali and everyone. They play man with the zone coverage.
Yes.
So they're man on for most of the time. Don't get me wrong, you're going to drop into zone when you're sending blitzes, but they played man on for a majority of the game, which forces Collaros to have to find the second or third route because the DBs in Toronto are good enough to cover man on down the field.
Exactly. Well earned. I called it. I said it on the Rod Peterson show. I've been saying it. I was saying it from day one since we saw the matchup. Everybody's counting Arbuckle out.
Yep.
Arbuckle's a pro. Arbuckle isn't a rookie.
No.
In any stretch of the imagination, isn't a rookie. He has been around this league for a long time. I don't even know how long, but I just had that feeling he was going to have a bit of a burr in his bonnet, a bee in his bonnet, and a burr up his butt, and he was going to come out on fire. And guess what? He came out on fire, and the whole team did.
Yeah.
Good on him.
The whole team came out because they knew this was the win. This is the one win they needed.
Right?
Whether it was the quarterback who's not named on the show or Arbuckle, they came out to win.
Yes. And if it was the other quarterback, this score could have been 60 or more, to be honest.
I think that I mean, obviously the game plays out completely different.
Yes.
But I think Winnipeg has a much harder time keeping the Toronto quarterback out of scoring early in that, like not just on that first drive like Arbuckle did, but scoring. There's a couple drives where they were able to pressure Arbuckle and get him to throw the ball away or make a bad decision. Not a bad decision, just not a completed pass, where I think he would have been able to make those.
So now the question is, as a Bomber fan, are you happy with a team that just makes it in and can't win the big one? Or do you blow that thing up?
I don't think you can blow it up.
They're making it happen. They're getting into the Grey Cup. What is it going to take them? There's 3 now. They've been in 5 times in a row. They've won 2, lost 3. 3 in a row they've lost now. Is it? No. 2 in a row. They won.
Let me look this up.
I believe it's 2 in a row. They won, lost, lost. It's got to be frustrating being the Mafia.
So, yeah, they lost. No, it's 3 in a row that they've lost.
Did they lose 3 in a row?
They went 2. Well, they went 1, COVID canceled. Right. 1, lost.
Thank you. Okay. So I don't know the secret there. They got to change something up.
Yeah.
Maybe get rid of their offensive coordinator.
Well, we'll get to that in a few seconds here. We talked about this in text message, and we said we're going to save it for the show.
By the way, look at folks. The toucan has made an appearance.
So you called this, and you took over the Twitter or X or whatever it is you want to call it account, and you said that this was the biggest underdog victory or biggest upset in Grey Cup history.
It was.
And I slapped back right away because I said no. I said no. Calgary losing to Ottawa is a bigger upset.
No.
And yes, by the numbers, it is a bigger upset. 10.5. The game opened at 10.5. It closed at 6.5.
Yeah.
The game for Calgary was a 10.5 point spread, and they lost in overtime.
Difference being, and we talked about this, and you almost agreed with me, was Calgary was at the beginning of their greatness when that happened. They had only been there once before, And then they went like 4 or 5 in a row.
They went in 2012. They lost to the Argos. They won in 2014. They were back in 2016
Lost.
and lost.
That's
Lost in
Ottawa.
2017. Won in 2018.
Yeah.
So I would say that was near the peak of their power.
No.
They're
not. They weren't the Winnipeg. Had been there 5 times. 5.
No.
This was supposed to be a cakewalk. The starting quarterback was out. Winnipeg it was going to be the biggest blowout in the history of the great, and it was the biggest blowout. I might add, it was the biggest point spread since 1950 something.
That's ridiculous. But do you not like going into the Ottawa game? That's exactly the conversation. And Ottawa had their starting quarterback.
Nope. They didn't have the Mafia. It's because of the Mafia. This one's sweeter.
See, and I think
because of the Mafia.
I 100% think that if we had this show back then, you would have 100% been on the Calgary Stampeders fans the same way you are on the Bomber fans.
No, I don't think so. I don't think Calgary was near as irritating because Rider fan was irritating back then.
But that's also because like they're your second team, so you might be again a little blind to that fact.
Irrational.
Yeah, as we've been known.
Rider fan was the one like Trent.
Well,
remember Trent in his prime? He doesn't even watch games now, Jake. That's that's how bad Rider fan got. Trent Lowe doesn't watch all the games anymore.
Well, I mean, he lives in Saskatchewan, so like, there's not a lot to do.
He should be watching the game.
No, so instead he just, takes his tractor out for a ride and gets lost and then can't get home in time till the lights come on.
He has to wait till it gets dark to come home.
Well, that's true. It's not quite the days of stealing Louis and holding him for ransom.
I told Louis that story.
Anything else about the Grey Cup you want to talk about? Because we are going long here in the CFL section.
Yeah.
We've got lots to talk about because we still have what the hell is going on in the CFL?
What else do I want to say about the Grey Cup, you asked me?
Yes.
To the organizers, the millions of volunteers, they had a herd of them. They were everywhere. Freaking hats off, shirt off, bowing to you. You guys did an unbelievable job. Like, I've been to a lot of big events. That was something. They did it right. And Winnipeg, I was talking to one of the Winnipeg reporters, and I said, Winnipeg's got their, it was Milt Siegel? Nope.
One of the guys.
Anyways, and he's like, you think? It was just done that well. So it'll be interesting.
Well, I'm hoping that they took notes of what worked, what didn't work.
Oh, yeah.
And will follow the same blueprint.
Well, you can guarantee that Jay McNeil was there to enjoy himself, but also pay attention. And I'm sure he had people with him.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Talking about GMs and executives and different people on different teams. BC Lions have announced they fired Campbell as head coach and GM. It has been announced officially that Ed Hervey has been the GM in Edmonton. There are rumors and is confirmed through Farhan that Jordan Masimic, the offensive coordinator for BC, has been given permission to talk to Edmonton for the head coaching job. There has been no conversation, according to Farhan, about Rick Campbell going to Edmonton or being able to be interviewed because they do still have to ask permission because he's still under contract for one more year.
Oh, I guess even being fired, don't they? Yeah.
Technically, he wasn't fired. He was relieved of his duties.
Yeah, true enough. They fired him.
They're paying him to sit.
Sounds really familiar to me. Why does this sound so familiar to me, Jake?
Here, I'm just gonna pull this up here for a second.
I'm thinking I heard this somewhere in my back of my brain that I heard it
November 15th.
November 15th, I heard it. And it's the 20th. 5 days ago, somebody reported this.
10:32 a.m. The old man HSP is getting all the scoops from Grey Cup Festival. Sounds like Campbell is out for the BC Lions and heading to the Elks. Also sounds like Grey Cup will be the last game for Buck Pierce with the Bombers and could find a landing spot in Vancouver. And those rumors are still ongoing. The latest I've heard with Buck Pierce is that, or being able to see from Buck Pierce, is that no news is no news. Doesn't mean anything positive or negative towards leaving or staying.
I was on Twitter paying attention all day, obviously, because it was such a big day. And more than one insider has, I did quotation marks for those who didn't see what I did, have said Buck Pierce is the number one candidate. The job is his.
If he wants it.
Two different people I talked to, kind of in the know. One kind of in the know, one just an irrational fan that lives in Alberta. We won't name him. And they both said the reason Buck won't go to BC is his wife's quite established as a realtor. I believe a realtor or a financial advisor. One of the two.
Yeah. So it's all family dynamics play a huge part in this too, right? It's not.
Well, yeah. I mean, come on. We did it. I mean, it was a big move to move from Kelowna, Kamloops, then up to here.
Yep.
So, the whole family's got to be behind it. And when your spouse has a career, adds even that extra dynamic.
Yeah. And it's not quite like we hear that a lot more in the CFL than we do in the NHL. And there's a reason for that. Like,
well, it's money.
If you've got NHL salary, you're more than likely your partner doesn't need to work if they don't want to.
Exactly.
But also if that money is good enough, you can make it work.
And you can take it.
I was just going to say, you can take that charter plane every weekend or every 3-day break back and forth.
Right.
Any other off-season notes you wanted to get to?
It's going to be a fun-filled next couple months. I've reached out to a few different insiders that have agreed to come on our show at some point. So we'll be announcing those as we go. Two have already said yes, and I'm waiting for 3 or 4 more. So it's going to be fun to pay attention and watch. We're not going to stop covering the CFL, that's for sure. There's going to be so much carousel, revolving door, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, absolutely. It should be a wild time in the CFL.
Yes.
Before we move on from the CFL, I put out on both Twitter and Blue Skies, because we are now on Blue Skies. You can
what the heck is Blue Skies?
You can find us at HSP Pod or HS Pod, or just search up Hughes Sports Podcast. We'll pop up there. Blue Skies is basically a new social media platform that is gaining traction faster than anything I've ever seen.
Everybody's on it.
20 million people are now on Blue Skies. Less than a year ago, that number was about 250,000.
Oh, wow.
Basically, it's a Twitter competitor.
Ooh.
People do not like the owner of Twitter or X or whatever it is you want to call it, and have gone to Blue Skies, who was originally founded by the original founder of Twitter, Jack Dorsey.
Are we able to go live onto Blue Sky?
Not as of yet, unfortunately. I did post out the link onto Blue Sky to go to YouTube to watch us. Oh, okay. So if you found us through there, hello, welcome. But I put it out.
We've got a ton of viewers today. We're up to 65 viewers. We're kicking.
And I put out to
friends, share it. Let's get to 100. Let's push for 100 again. Everybody who's watching, just share it on your social media. Even if you're on Blue Sky, share it again. If you're on X, share it. If you're on Facebook, share it. Thanks. Carry on, Jake.
While you're there, also give us a like, thumbs up, subscribe if you're on YouTube. That way you never miss one of these shows. But I put out to the social media verse, CFL fans, give us your hot takes. And I said we'd feature a few on the show tonight. So I have one here from Megan at sportsandplants. bsky.social, which is how your tags on Blue Sky.
Oh, okay.
And it says the Elks are turning into a recycling facility. Campbell probably going there too. Is Mike Riley available? Basically, just I don't think that's really a hot take. I think that's just
That's a hot take. But the question is,
the question
is it a recycle with bringing Hervey in?
if you bring in Campbell, yes.
Campbell lived there. He never coached there. His dad did.
No, but Ed Hervey came to Vancouver.
Yes.
Who did he bring in?
Yes. True enough. True enough. I see. Okay. Then you could look at it that way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Then what did they do? They brought in Mike Riley.
True enough.
Michael Riley.
Michael.
Then we have one other one here that I wanted to get to.
Do
Tony Allen, Rogue Tony on Blue Sky, says the 2025 West final regular season standings will be Bombers, Elks, Riders, Lions, then Stamps.
I want to know, was he hotboxing when he gave us that hot take? Holy, that just came right off my head. That was pretty good. Freaking Mafia. They're everywhere. They're taking over Blue Sky now.
Controversial take from an irrational fan.
Who does that?
I can see that happening. I wholeheartedly could see that standings being here in next year. If the Lions don't figure out their defensive problems, if they don't figure out their O-line problems, and the Elks get a quarterback and run with one quarterback,
yeah,
I could see it.
You know, everybody's talking about the Elks getting a quarterback.
I don't think it's
they've got Trey Ford.
I don't think
they've
it's getting
got the BLT.
I don't think you can run with a two quarterback set. I think the Lions proved that even with two elite quarterbacks, you can't have two quarterbacks. The room gets divided, and I don't know if it's a player thing, a just normal atmosphere. When you have two leaders, the room's going to be divided.
Yes,
and I think that might be what's happening with the Elks as well right now.
Well, whoever that was has a fan in Charlie, our longtime fan, who calls out to me every time I'm on the Rod Peterson show. Thank you, Charlie. He thinks the Bombers will be back next year. What, back to lose another freaking game?
Hey, it's a dynasty. It's a dynasty of losing.
It's a dynasty of losing. There you go.
Okay, we have gone well over time on the CFL talk here. So moving on, let's talk about the sponsor of today's show, SeatGeek.com. SeatGeek is a proud supporter of the Hughes Sports Podcast. If you go to SeatGeek.com, you can get fantastic tickets for any sporting event, theater, rock concert, anything and everything in between. And they are offering you $20 off your first ticket purchase if you use code HSPPOD at checkout. Again, that's HSP Pod to get $20 off your first ticket purchase. The great thing about SeatGeek is you can go onto their website, look at the seats, and instantly tell if you're getting a good deal right away by looking at the green, yellow, or red boxes or circles around the seats. You can tell. Green means good deal, yellow means fair deal, red means probably look somewhere else. Again, they're offering you, the fabulous listeners of the Hughes Sports Podcast, the opportunity to get $20 off your first ticket purchase by using code HSP Pod at checkout. Again, that code is HSP Pod at SeatGeek.com to get $20 off your first ticket purchase. Thank you so much to SeatGeek for sponsoring the show. Now we got some Canucks talk to get into. Let's talk about the thing that we want to touch on and move on from very quickly because we don't want to dwell on it, respecting the wishes of the player. JT Miller announced, or I guess the team announced that JT Miller is taking leave of absence. The reporting through the grapevine is all speculation, and we don't want to get into it here on the show. We are wishing the best, whether it's physical, mental, whatever it is. We hope you get better and you come back soon, because you are a human being first and a hockey player second. And that's where I want to leave that at.
Well, and I heard the news and I was taken back by it. And I'm hoping it's as simple as he has to get over an injury that's affecting him mentally and physically. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, me
as
well.
When I hear stupidity, like his wife had to close down her social media because she was being bombarded.
No, that is a false narrative. Sorry, I wanted to get ahead of that. She closed her Instagram account before the announcement came out.
Okay, that's
she
better.
closed it. So she closed it because she knew that there would be the want of people to go there and try to get updates and bug them. So she just cut it off completely.
Oh, that's smart then.
Yeah.
I don't feel bad then. Then Miller, it's Miller time. Get healthy. We'll see you when you come back.
Exactly. So let's talk about the Canucks, because they went 1 win, 3 losses since Wednesday, 4 games. And I'm just going to put out a blanket there. I know you were super busy with the Grey Cup and
This
everything.
is exactly what I predicted.
Well, we never got your predictions on the show, so when we get to the old man predicts, don't worry. I've already got it sorted out.
This is exactly what I predicted.
Well, you didn't predict anything.
I did. You just didn't get the memo.
Oh, so when I asked you for a video and be like, hey, do some bits and like maybe send me your predictions for the week, and you did half of that?
Well, because I got drunk.
Well, that's whose fault is that?
The open bar.
Should we be concerned with the Canucks going 1-3 through this 4-game stretch?
I want to be. I want to be the 50+ year fan of the Canucks. 54 years.
Were you doing the math? Is that what took you the second year?
Yeah, it was. I was 6. That was 54 years. I don't think we need to be. Yeah, we lost 3, but we're also not healthy yet. We're not completely healthy. I mean, of those 4 games, Besser was out all of them.
Yeah,
because he's been out 6 games now.
Yeah,
so we don't have Besser. Miller has been trying to play through something. Obviously, Demko's still not back.
Forbert still out.
Yeah, like I think for what we have, what's our records now?
It's 9 wins, 6 losses, 3 overtime losses, which puts us at 21 points, which is behind the Calgary Flames, Edmonton Oilers, Los Angeles Kings, and Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah, I'm not worried. Honestly, I'm not worried yet. If we're talking like this in January, this kind of record consistently, then I'm worried. Yeah. But for some reason, I'm not. And I'm usually the one panicking, going, I'm taking down my flag. I'm pissing on it. I'm not paying attention to them anymore. I'm canceling my subscription to Sportsnet Plus. I really want to do that because they suck. It went off again the other night. What night was that? When we were watching the game. When I was texting you, I was home. Last night.
It didn't go out for me last night.
Went out for me twice. Kicked me right out. I had to go back in. I was choked.
Well, at least you didn't get stuck into the commercial loop like that one game where we all missed the second period. Jeez,
yeah,
that was
exactly. Sportsnet, you suck. Anyway, I'm not worried. I'm really not. Every team's going to go through a slump at some point during the year.
Initially, just looking at the 1-3, I can understand why people are panicking or wanting to panic. But then you look at it, and again, you mentioned it, the players that are out, we have not been 100% healthy. I was listening to Thomas Drance talk about it yesterday on the show, on Canucks Talk. and he was talking that 20% of the team has missed a game.
Yeah.
We've only played 18 games.
It's not been a great year for our health.
Which is the complete opposite of what we had last year.
Right?
We were one of the most healthy teams last year.
Exactly.
So there's like that, plus the fact that Demko's not back. We're playing two goalies who have never been full-time heavy starters and have been playing well enough. I mean, Shelovs came out to a rocky start. I think last night was probably the best game for Shelovs that he's had all year. We talked about it at the very beginning of the game where he kind of looked, and he's looked this way all year, where he looked nervous.
Yes.
And you didn't get that in the playoffs last year. He was very confident, but this year he looks, every time he takes that first couple of shots, he looks nervous.
And we texted it to each other, saying that, oh my God, he looks nervous again. But he got over it last night, and was it last night? The night before last?
Last night.
Last night.
No.
And like, it's all a blur.
It's all a blur. It's too many games.
It was the night I got home. What day is it? It's Wednesday today. I got home
yesterday.
last night.
It was yesterday.
So yeah, no. I thought he played really well. Did he let in a soft goal? Yeah, there was one. I think there was one soft goal that he let in, but that didn't cost us the game, in my opinion.
No. I honestly, we talked about it. I think that was the best full game from puck drop to the end of the game that we've played all year. It was the most exciting. They had their poop in a pile. And
get out of the comments.
You didn't have the issue of, or you had the issue of running into a really good team in the New York Rangers.
Yeah.
Who was healthy and had all of their big name players.
Yeah.
Because, honestly, what I was thinking right at the last couple of minutes, the last minute there where Canucks had pressure, this is where JT Miller shines.
Yes.
This is where he comes in and scores that big goal that we're talking about the next night. Even if we didn't get the win, like that's the type of thing that you're missing from the lineup right now. And there's no one on the roster. I don't think there's too many people in the league that can replace that hole of that type of that caliber of player.
Yeah. But you said it last night. We have to just carry on like he's not going to be here for a while. Yeah. We can't dwell on the fact that, if Miller was here. If Miller.
No, 100%.
I thought, up against one of the best teams in the league, we didn't look out of place.
No.
They didn't blow us out by any stretch.
No.
The refs, maybe it's the irrational fan, thank you very much, Rod, coming out in me, but Jesus, Murphy, the lack of calls that were being made, insanity. And I went to the Chicago game. That's something we didn't talk about. I actually went to the Chicago game on the Saturday when I was in Vancouver. Thank you very much, Rod Peterson. And I got to tell you, Bedard looked normal.
Which is a huge compliment to the Vancouver defense.
Yes, right? We played really well. We played disciplined. But again, there were so many times where I'm like, what the and Rod's like, you're irrational. Well, so is everybody else in the building that just stood up and screamed because they were like humping our legs as we were going down, and it wasn't called. It's insane to me that there's that many calls being missed.
There was one last night, and it was on the power play, where Connor Garland gets driven into Igor Shesterkin, which, you know what, that's going to happen in a game. But Igor grabs his leg and literally starts holding him while Garland's trying to skate away. How do you not call that?
He was humping his leg.
Like there's
he was trying to take it off.
There's a lot of calls that I can say, okay, maybe they didn't see that, or maybe the angle we have, like watching from the TV broadcast. Sometimes I'm like, how do you not call that, then see it back in the sticks 3 feet away from him and he just flung his head
Exactly.
back? It's like,
And
okay,
then
cool,
you're like,
I get
oh,
those.
I guess that wasn't a penalty.
But there are certain times where it's just like, how do you not call those penalties?
Oh, insane. But again, that didn't cost the Canucks the game, in my opinion. I'm not a science major. Don't claim to be.
Okay.
But I think the science says, I'm stealing that from the stanchion on X. Go see him. He's great to follow on X. I'm doing the science on this, and I think if Vancouver can score on their power play, they could win more.
You think?
Shoot,
But that means
puck.
now. Last night, I'll give them their slack because Garland wasn't there for practice this morning for morning skate because there was not a concern, but there was the likelihood that he was at the game would be very little.
Yes.
He did end up making it. Congratulations to Connor Garland because I heard today from Coach Talkett that his kid was born.
Oh.
Mother and baby are doing fantastic.
Good.
So
So we can expect a baby bump from him in the next game. That's good.
Did you not see him last game? I think that was his baby bump game.
Wow,
the guy
he
was just all over the
fire.
place.
He was on fire. He picked it up because of the missing Miller. He stepped up his game.
I think him and Sherwood both did.
Oh,
Sherwood
and
again. We've
Petey.
talked. I think we've talked like ad nauseum at this point about Sherwood.
Oh, he's
But
so
I think
good.
if he keeps playing this way, we're just going to keep it up.
Like leading the league in hits, but not only doing that, but creating plays, passing the puck like crazy, putting the puck in the net.
Yeah,
I like the guy.
It's just again we talked about it before, but it's been a long time since we've had that gritty, hard hitting but skilled player. Like Sherwood's got 10 points on the season. He has more points than Jake DeBrusk, P.S. Suter, Teddy Bluger.
Yeah, I mean is leading the league in hits.
Right? Like it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
And doing that with no power play time.
Well, that's it, right?
Anything else positive you want to talk about?
No, let's look forward to next week.
Next week is going to be fun. Hopefully, I'm just looking through our notes here because we're getting close to wrapping up here.
Yeah.
Brock Besser did not practice today. I did want to talk about this. He practiced yesterday.
Yeah, and then
which was a good sign.
Today.
Didn't practice today. So my understanding of concussion protocol is you'll hit certain benchmarks,
and then
you get retested, and then you'll get retested.
Oh.
So if he went for a practice, non-contact jersey practice, or even if it was just a
skate.
Optional skate, and he came back and tested, wasn't allowed, has to basically reset.
Yeah.
So it could be that. It also could be that the team was practicing out at UBC today rather than at Raj. So they didn't have the ability to do all of the normal injury skating.
Yes, could be very much so.
So I put it's not a good sign, but it's not a horrible sign.
Yeah.
And it could just be, hey, you know what? We have 3 days until our next game. Take an extra day to recover. Like, I don't expect him anywhere close to be ready for Saturday's game.
No, but I think he would go on the road trip with them.
And I think that's the hope, is getting him to a point where he can go on that road trip and expect to play.
Yeah, makes sense.
Demko I haven't had a chance to check it out, but Demko had a media availability as well.
I did. I saw that he had a media availability, and it was really cool because he had the Miller Time hat on, which was really cool, I thought.
Yep.
And there was talk, I'm trying to think who was it that said, does he play Saturday?
I would be shocked if he plays Saturday.
My other question about Demko is, why haven't they sent him down to the minors to get some playing time before he...
Because he is still on the injured reserve. You have to take him off the injured reserve and get special clearance to be able to do that.
Okay.
Which he would 100% qualify for. But taking him off of the IR
Would they have to
I-
clear waivers or anything to be
No.
sent down? No.
No. So it'd be like on a conditioning stint,
Yeah.
meaning he would have a certain amount of time down in the AHL before he'd have to clear waivers. But I believe to do that, he has to come off of IR. To come off of IR, because I'm pretty sure they have him placed on LTIR, meaning that his cap space is occurring on a daily basis. So the longer they keep on LTIR, the more cap space we'll have at the trade deadline.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So-
and
it's those
tried
types of
to
pieces-
explain the cap, daily cap, blah, blah, blah. And my head exploded. I was like, okay,
Well,
I don't science. I don't
he does
math
not
either.
science. Okay, everything else we have listed here can wait until next week because it's
Yeah.
time for everyone's favorite part of the show.
It's time for the old man predictions. How well did he do? Do-do-da. Do-dee-do.
That is right, everyone. It is time for Old Man Predicts. How well did he do? Do-dee-da. Do-dee-do. And this week, we have a no contest. So the old man's record stands at 2, 3, and 1 no contest.
So
I
2
watched-
weeks perfect, 3 weeks not perfect?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
And 1 no contest. I actually saw that on the John Jones fight over the weekend, and because he has a 1 no contest, and I was like, hey, you know what? I'm stealing that.
That's cool. I like it.
So the Canucks this week start their ridiculousness. That is the 6-game road trip, 5-game road trip, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-game road trip, starting Saturday, taking on the Senators, Tuesday taking on the Bruins, Wednesday at a 5:30 Mountain Time, so 4:30 Pacific Time start against the Penguins. So 3 games, old man. What will the Canucks do?
Jeez. I'm going to say 2-1.
2-1.
Seems to be my go-to, eh?
It does seem to be your go-to.
2-1. I'm going to say they're going to beat the Senators, lose to the Bruins, beat the Penguins, or the other way around with Bruins and Penguins.
All right. So the Senators is the only one you're 100% confident in.
Yeah.
All right.
Should I make my pick for the following weeks as well? No, I'll send you those.
That's what we can discuss that at the end after the show's over here. But
I'll do a video from the boat.
that was
How's
going to be my thought process. But then you're going to have to remember and not get too drunk.
Well, I'll get drunk and remember and do it drunk.
All right. So I'll text you. I'll text you Wednesday morning to make sure you get it done.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is the show for the week. Next week, the old man will not be here, nor will he be here the week after that because he will be on a cruise boat sailing away,
Yeah, man.
never to return to this cold miserableness that is Calgary.
I wish that was the case, but it's only 10 days. Well, I guess I'm gone 12 or 13 days, but flying into Fort Lauderdale, meeting up with Mr. Peterson again and his beautiful wife, Serena, for dinner that on Sunday night. And then we jump on the cruise ship Monday morning and we're gone for 10 days.
We'll enjoy that. We have some special guests lined up that if you stay tuned to our social medias, that includes X or Twitter or whatever it is you want to call it, Instagram, Facebook, and Blue Skies. Was that you flying into the blue skies?
Yeah, that was me pointing at the blue sky.
Okay. It's dark out, so there's no color in the sky right now.
So blue.
But you can follow us there, see the announcements for the guests that are going to be co-hosting with me, and maybe an announcement of a guest for next week. Maybe we can tease that a little bit. But until next week, have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful time, and we'll see you